two big pointing out instructions. Okay, here's the first one. You really get them, they change everything. And Barbara was radically excited about the second one. When it first kind of clarified to me, I shared it with her, and she told me it changed her life completely and how she understood the divine. And the first one just clarified itself fully 2 weeks ago, right? In a session with a dear friend of mine, Kathy. Okay, just clarified. So here we go. I really want to get this right with you. This is such a big deal, and I'm a little bit trembling because it's so important. I shared this with Zach, right? Who's been studying with me for 10 years. My dear friend, who's also now co-president of the center, and just blew his heart open. So here we go. How do you approach yourself? The voices in your head. And all of us live with the voices in our head more than we live with anyone else. We're in dialogue, voice dialogue, if you will, with the voices in our head. Now, psychology has done very good work in trying to clarify the voices and given them names. And my dear colleague, friend, Professor Richard Schwartz has created an entire system called internal family therapy, right? The internal family systems, right? IFS, in which you access the family of voices inside you and you speak to them. And Hal and Sidra Stone created Voice Dialogue, which is a similar process. And you access the voices of the protector and the controller and the wounded child and the innocent one. And you talk about those voices. And that's important. But what all those voices share in common is that what they're thinking about almost all of the time is you. So psychology says, okay, let's clarify those voices. Let's listen to them. Let's be in dialogue with them. Let's distinguish between them. Let's make sure they don't hijack your life. Let's know which ones are actually coming from your highest self and which ones need to be engaged and transformed. And that's really important. Enlightenment teaching says all of those voices are problematic. Psychology also recognizes the problematic, and psychology deals with it by making them the unconscious conscious. Be aware of them, be in dialogue with them. And that's good at the leading edge of psychology. It's necessary, but it's insufficient. Enlightenment says, classical Eastern Enlightenment and many modes of Western Enlightenment says, no, that's monkey mind. Those are confusing voices. Just like psychology, Enlightenment agrees, they're always thinking about you. You're always thinking about yourself all the time. You got to move beyond those voices and stop thinking about yourself, right? You got to actually step out and feel the wider world. And that's really important. Psychology is making an incredibly important contribution, and classical mystical enlightenment is making an incredibly important contribution. We need both of them, but both are insufficient. So stay close now. And this is the realization of unique self. As separate self, that's the first of the 5 selves, separate self, you should do the psychology work. That's really important. As true self, now what true self means is the singular that has no plural, your complete identity with consciousness. As true self, you move beyond your story. You live in no story. You're one with consciousness. As separate self, you clarify your story. But actually, you've got to move even beyond true self. True self is the personal beyond the impersonal. True self is consciousness plus personal. And that unique self, what you realize is, now stay close, is that in fact, dear friends, you're always thinking about you. But that's not a problem. It's not a pathology, as psychology so often terms it. It's not a confusion, as enlightenment theory, mystical teaching suggests. Actually, you're always thinking about yourself because God's always thinking about you. Your obsession with yourself is Goddess's obsession with you. The reason you're utterly focused and always thinking about you is because divinity, the cosmos in her personal face, is always screaming, you, I'm madly in love with you. I'm not just in love with you, I'm madly in love with you. That's what Rumi writes about all the time correctly. And it's what the Kashmir Shaivite mystics understand correctly. And it's what the interior scientists of Hebrew wisdom understand in their deepest realization. Divinity, the personal face of essence, of all of essence, knows your name, the infinity of intimacy, is madly in love with you and is thinking about you all the time. So you're thinking about yourself all the time. This is a pointing out instruction. So don't think about it, just feel it directly. You're thinking about yourself all the time is God thinking about you all the time. And loneliness disappears. Your self-obsession is the self-obsession of self with a capital S, thinking about yourself, because your self participates in the self of cosmos. That's what it means, thou art that. But not just you as consciousness, but your holy and your broken hallelujah. Everything about you, every detail, right? It doesn't matter what you heard. There's a blaze of light in every word, the holy and the broken hallelujah. That's what Leonard Cohen's singing. It's what he understands. Now, second pointing out instruction. Just like you hear me talking, and let's hear it as if we're hearing it for the first time. I've shared this pointing out instruction many, many times. And as I shared just a few minutes ago, when Barbara first heard it, it blew her heart open. And I do this pointing out instruction with myself every day. Right? So it's not that we have information, we want wisdom. Right? The tree of knowledge needs to be connected to the tree of life. We've become all about information. Information is the splitting. It's reenacting the fall in the Garden of Eden. We split the tree of knowledge from the tree of life. The tree of knowledge and the tree of life are one. So as we listen now together, we listen with the ears of an outrageous, aflame heart. We listen for wisdom, not information. Can you hear me talking? Yes, you can. Shad and Claire, you're about to give your seminar in about 14 minutes. Can you hear me talking? Yes, you can. Why can Shad and Claire hear me talking? They have ears, yes, but it's not just their ears. It's because their ears are a function of something larger, the field of intelligence that's Claire, and the field of intelligence that's Shad. Now, if Shad and Claire can hear me talking as Shad and Claire, as unique expressions of the field of intelligence, could it be that the field of intelligence itself can't hear me talking? Of course not. Shad's intelligence is located in the broader field. It's inextricable from the broader field, just like we are in the physical world, inseparable from the larger field, from the cascading Higgs boson fields and all the forces, and then all of the biosphere. All of it lives in us. We're inseparable in our identity from the larger field. So too, our intelligence is inseparable from the larger field of intelligence. That's self-evident in the sciences. So if Claire can hear me talking because the intelligence, reality, having a Shad experience, that field of intelligence hears me, and that field of intelligence, reality, having a Claire experience hears me, then obviously the larger field of intelligence hears me. That's prayer. That the larger field of intelligence hears me, the infinity of intimacy hears me, and the infinity of intimacy desires me uniquely. She's thinking about me all the time. That's prayer. That's the holy and the broken hallelujah, right? Those two pointing out instructions. Your obsession with yourself is God's obsession with you. Yes, liberate the monkey mind. Yes, identify the voices clearly, psychology and mysticism. But then embrace your unique self, which is God being you, thinking about you, obsessing about you. 1, 2, and God's holding you. You're welcome in the universe. You're being held. I'm being held in every moment. In every moment, we rest in the arms of she. Every place we fall into her hands. We're always welcome.